Giri, we are ready, Giri. We can start the session.
Go ahead, sir. Good morning. Request Mr. Raju Goyal Saab to take over and deliver the welcome remarks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Giri, and thanks to CII. A very good morning to all of you, and warm welcome to this event. I also take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Madhav Krishna Singhania, Chairman, Green Cementec 2022, and all the distinguished guests, speakers, and sponsors and delegates who is attending the session today. Once again, a warm welcome to the 18th edition of the Cementec 2022 on virtual platform today. It is my immense pleasure to reconnect with you all again on this annual event of CII CMA Green Cementec 2022. CII is organizing this annual event from 2000 onward, which has been seen a excellent event and got a lot of excellent response, cooperation, and interest from all the stakeholders. Today event is also consolidating itself that one of the flagship event of the cement industry is a Green Cementec on this platform, where we learn, share about the new technologies, sustainable challenges, industrial improvements or industrial challenges, opportunities, and all the best practices which is being used in the cement industry across. I'm sure that this edition will also be like earlier editions, will enrich our knowledge and will offer the new perspective, new opportunities, and the new avenues for the sustainable cement manufacturing in our businesses. It is a great honor for me to welcome Mr. Madhav Krishna Singhania, Chairman, Cement Tech 2022, and Deputy Managing Director and CEO for JK Cement Limited to the today's event. Mr. Madhav Singhania holds the bachelor degree from the Carnegie Mellon University from USA and also hold the diploma in family business management from IMD Lausanne, Switzerland. He has a very enriched experience in the cement industry, covering the various aspects of the business, coming from the strategy, manufacturing, early adoption of the technologies, as he's a very keen and very interesting into the adopting the new technologies and automation of the processes. He has led his company to double his capacity in the last 10 years, and which shows that his growth ambitions as well as his passion towards the enhance the capacity or build the capacity in the for not only for company, for the country also, and maintaining the footprint across the India for his production capacities. Mr. Singhania is leading the companies at many technologies and automation initiatives. JK Cement recently has won several awards and honors in the area of sustainability, safety, energy efficiency, and green manufacturing. So thank you to the and congratulations to the all JK Cement team. Let me take this opportunity to also warm welcome for all our national and international speakers and all the delegates who have joined from the different part of the country and from the globe. A special thanks and welcome to all our sponsors. Though the Indian cement industry is witnessing very difficult times, it has shown a great resilience, not only withstanding with the impact of the pandemic in the last 24 months, but also shown the growth in the difficult times and difficult scenarios. Though the demand of cement is expected to increase, but same time challenges to have sustainability and increase the value addition in the manufacturing and stay globally competitive. Amid the increased energy is also operating costs also increasing. So this is a big challenge for an industry, but we are sure that the passion and the knowledge and learning what we have will meet all these objectives there. You might have seen the recent past, many of the companies have installed the new capacities and expanded the projects to build the new capacities. But same time, many of the cement plants have invested in the various sustainability projects also. The Indian cement industry has realized a strong business growth can only be achieved by sustainable manufacturing in an eco-friendly manner. I'm sure this two days annual event will offer you the new perspective, new directions for exploring the new sustainable growth opportunities and meet the challenges in the near future. On environment and sustainability front, the Indian cement industry has recognized as one of the most efficient cement industry in the world, with the lowest CO2 emissions, as well as the very efficient energy usage in our cement business. The Indian cement industry is also have a forefront in responding the climate change challenges, and already has committed and made a significant progress in further reducing the carbon emissions. Many cement industries has also announced their target for carbon emission reduction to support the India's commitment towards meeting the or achieving the net zero emission by 2070. The Indian cement industry companies has also stepping up their ambitions to tackle the climate changes by setting the science-based target to cut the greenhouse emissions in line to the Paris Agreement. The Indian cement industry also developing voluntarily the country-specific roadmap for making the concrete net zero carbon emission by 2050 by setting this example for the other sectors as well as other companies, other countries. It has been seen many cement companies have done lot of work to reduce the emissions of the CO2 by using the supplementary material, improving the efficiencies in the operations, substituting the fossil fuel by the alternative fuels, using the waste heat recovery systems to generate the power, reduce the dependency on the typical CPP, use the solar power and distillation techniques for process improvements. As we all know, in our cement industry, what we can say that the captive power plants capacity installation about 87 gigawatts, which is a huge, which is predominantly about 90 to 95% with the coal based. Under the current scenario, low capacity utilization and the low availability, high grade of the fuel, the CPP have the under tremendous pressure to achieve the best possible efficiencies. CPP inherently has a design and operating for the higher rate of heat rate, and having due to various reasons they are not able to achieve. But number of technologies are available, automations are available, operation performance tools are available, which can allow to use the various kind of fuels to improve the performance of the CPPs. And further improving the operational efficiencies through the technology adoptions or upgradations, digitalization, and adopting the new best practices to improve our CPP performance and reducing the CO2 footprint. Therefore, to overcome these challenges and help the CPP enhance their performance efficiencies or energy efficiencies, we are also organizing one session parallelly in this event. For CPP to focus the latest developments in the boilers, turbines, auxiliaries, improvements in the EPC, and latest emerging trends in the CPP with combination of the WHRS and solar power, and improve the further our efficiencies. Dear friends, incorporating the sustainable and green principles is not just trend now. Cultivating sustainable and green practice helps organization becomes more efficient, competitive, and finally profitable. In 2004, if some of my friends remember that, we have put up our share the vision, making the cement plants world-class energy efficiency through this platform. And I'm happy to say that today we are fairly and we have sustainably achieved that our vision, what we set in 2004. This achievement has been possible through the efforts of all stakeholders such as cement industries, government, associates, industries, technology providers, and all innovators and all OEMs who provide the technologies to us. Similarly, some of the key initiatives or key activities of the CII in the cement sectors are energy efficiency benchmark, which you have seen the last year we published that, promoting the use of alternative fuels and raw materials, greenhouse gas carbon footprint studies and life cycle assessment studies, low carbon technologies roadmap, energy efficiency and climate change related projects, cost optimization studies, which is coming out very much the focus for all industries given the rise in the energy and availability of the fuels and availability of the raw materials and things is coming very much required for today. And we also have the National Awards for Excellence in Energy Management, energy audits, Green Co ratings, Green Pro ratings, and capacity building initiatives with the training programs, national and international missions which we are operating, and we are organizing the trainings and publishing the material from that. I'm sure that this 2 days event, like always, will offer you the new perspective, give you some new insights, new ideas on the subject, and this platform will also help you to network, learn from each other, and explore for the new growth opportunities, not only the business for the sustainable and reduce the CO2, how other people are doing, we can learn from each other. These sessions are designed to address all the major challenges and opportunities for the low carbon growth in our cement sector. Before I close, I would like to underline the ongoing greenway, not only the addressing the ecological issues, but concerns, but also making good business sense for all what Green Cementech aspire to promote and facilitate for our industry. I request all the delegates to please attend all the sessions as per your interest and as per your focused area during this Green Cementech. And I'm sure that presentation deliberation at this event will be very useful for all of you, and a lot of takeaways can be taken from this next 2 days event. With this, I say once again welcome and thank you to all for participating today, and I wish you a pleasant and enjoyable learning session for next 2 days, and have a wonderful 2 days for the networking also to learn from each other. Thank you very much, and thanks to the Mr. Giri. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. May I now request our chairman, Mr. Madhav Krishna Singhania, for his theme address, please.
Thank you so much, Giri. Thank you, CII, for having me here as the chairman of this 18th Green Cementech. In fact, before I start, I'd like to compliment the CII team for that, this program is in its 18th year and it's come a long way from where it was when it started. So many congratulations to you, Giri, Kiran, and the entire team at CII GBC to make this possible and come up with something which really complements the efforts of the cement industry and CMA to take this green transition forward. I would also like to thank my co-chairman, Raju ji, who gave an introduction which somewhere embarrasses me, but I would like to, take the liberty to try. I won't be able to do the same, but I will do take the liberty because it is such a pleasure to be doing this and having the support of a co-chairman who is one of the most senior technocrats of our industry. And when we talk about globalization, he is one who has, I would say, the maximum global experience that I have ever seen, whether it be in Sri Lanka, South Africa, Indonesia, and now a leadership position at the leading cement manufacturer in our country. So it's a pleasure, Goel Saab, to have you as the co-chair.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the support as always.
Thank you, sir.
I'd also like to welcome you all for joining us here today and to thank you for taking out your time and to also thank our sponsors who have made this program possible. So this year, learning from COVID, our Green Cementech program continues to be virtual. And the reason it's virtual is obviously pertaining to COVID, as well as we felt it would have a much larger reach across places rather than having a physical event in Hyderabad. The theme is preparing for a net zero carbon future, which is in line with some of the discussions that are happening globally, as well as in line with what Goel Saab just said in his welcome address. So Kiran, I request you to please move to the next slide. The theme address, we are going to basically give an overview of the cement sector, where it is, the opportunities and challenges, some of the new areas to focus, and some key highlights that you will probably see in the Green Cementech, which again, Goels have just emphasized on. So we all know that, India is the world's second largest cement market, both in terms of production and consumption. The Indian cement industry is amongst the world's most energy efficient industries. In fact, it has one of the lowest electrical energy footprints as well as thermal energy footprints. One area to improve on probably is on the AFR front, wherein we may be slightly behind our global peers, but that gap also seems to be bridged as we go along. And on the net CO2 emissions as well, the India average, I would say, is slightly better than the global average. And a point of interest is that when the ACC Ambuja deal took place, in fact, ACC and Ambuja were one of the greener assets which Holcim owned globally, which just shows that the Indian cement industry is actually much ahead than some of the global peers in sustainability. A lot of countries, I mean, a lot of companies have taken multiple initiatives on the sustainability front. In fact, there are so many initiatives that have come up now that one loses track of, which initiative who is a part of. But I will definitely mention the net zero commitment which GCCA has taken up, as well as the SBTI targets, which is the science-based targets, which a lot of industries have now come forward with SBTI validating their targets and maybe coming up with 2030 or 2040 commitments. And then a company like Ultratech did mention that they will go for 100% renewable energy. I think by 2050, Mr. Goyal can correct me if I'm wrong, but there are targets which is a part of the RE100 commitment. So we are seeing multiple commitments come forward, and I would say it is in the interest of the industry as well as in line with the global commitment which has been made by GCCA of net zero by 2050 and our Prime Minister of net zero by 2070. What we are seeing, however, is the Indian cement industry is likely to add maybe 80 million tons of capacity in by 24, which is going to be the highest in the last 10 years. A key reason for this is actually the mineral rules amendments, which we saw, wherein it is important for most players to start production in the mineral concessions which they own. And this has led to massive capacity expansion as well. The only good part is that it was very good to see a very high capacity utilization across most cement players in the March quarter, which just passed us. Please continue, Kiran. So cement demand, when we look at cement production, we were moving at a pretty reasonable growth of about 5 to 6%. In fact, earlier it was said that the cement industry grew at 1.2% of GDP. We did not see that relation from 2016 onwards, but we saw the growth at about 5 to 6%. And it continued. However, in 2030, due to the lockdown in the end of March, we saw the production being the same as 19. And then in 21, we saw actually a slight degrowth, which then again covered up in 22 as we went along. So some of the key demand drivers for cement, the major demand driver still continues to be the housing and real estate sector, which contributes to over 60 to 65% of the cement demand of the country. However, now we are seeing very good traction on the infrastructure side as well, wherein the Honorable Prime Minister even during the budget and later had announced 100 lakh crore investment for as a part of public capex for infrastructure building. And infrastructure spend in our country, which contributes to generally about 10 to 15%, as compared to maybe a country like China, wherein the spend is 25 to 30%. And this is a gap which is being bridged now with the type of commitment which the government is showing on infrastructure spend. And we are actually seeing so many projects being announced, whether it being national highways, airports, ports, um, you know, uh, I mean, the type of development we see happening around us, I don't think we have seen this for a long time. And also industrial development, which is obviously a key aspect to meet out the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of a $5 trillion economy. So we are seeing robust demand coming from the infrastructure side. And I already mentioned the opportunities in terms of infrastructure consumption. But there is another opportunity in terms of, the net zero commitments. And this is something which we as an industry will have to work towards, because sustainability and profitability are now two sides of the same coin. The more sustainable company will always end up being the more profitable company as we go along. And then I won't say there is too much of an export potential to other countries, but I would say that for maybe some of the neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, uh, there may be some opportunities that could be explored. So we're seeing multiple challenges that the industry is facing today. One of the major challenges is actually the operating costs on the fuel side. And we have seen fuel price increase quite substantially over the last year, wherein fuel cost used to be 1.2 rupees per kilocal, and now the shipments are in the range of 2.5 to 3 rupees per kilocal, which is almost a 2.5 time increase. And thermal energy, which used to, you know, at about 700, used to be about 700 to 800 rupees per ton of clinker, is now touching about 2000 rupees per ton of clinker. So the type of fuel cost increase which the industry is seeing, uh, I have never seen, and I think is unheard of for most of the players. There are lots of calls being taken in terms of, using alternate fuel to try and bring down this impact and reducing clinker factor. However, we are also seeing that this will need to be passed on the market side if players are to maintain a level of profitability. On the resource management side, now with limestone leases being auctioned, we are seeing leases actually go up. The price of limestone will definitely go up in the coming years as some of these leases come into operation. And it's to be seen what impact this has on the cement pricing. But it's important that we manage these resources effectively. And on the sustainability commitments, I've already mentioned, uh, there are certain things we are doing already in terms of reducing clinker factor, waste heat, renewable power. However, there are technologies which are being explored, whether it be green hydrogen, it be, electrification of the cement process, it be carbon capture and storage. But these are technologies which we really need to see and evaluate, and maybe it will take a slightly longer time for it to become commercially viable. Um, and then capacity utilization and asset management, it's a very competitive market, and we are seeing a good recovery, luckily. However, again, for the CPPs, we need to see with the pricing of coal. Actually, CPP power has now become more expensive than grid power. And I would say a lot of people probably shut down their CPPs at this point of time. However, then we saw the massive power crisis wherein grid started taking power cuts, and then those same CPPs became a lifeline to run the plant in an uninterrupted manner. So it is to be seen, how the CPPs evolve. And we need to definitely engage with stakeholders to improve the perception and perception of the industry uh, in terms of the efforts and sustainability initiatives, and obviously on the safety and environmental impacts. So, in every industry, one has to balance externalities. And in our case, there are some positive externalities wherein we are a growing country and there is a huge potential in terms of per capita consumption. We are seeing good spend on infrastructure. We are creating exceptional employment opportunities. We are a solution for waste, various types of waste across the country. And we have a potential impact on multiple sectors wherein we can consume some of their waste, as well as we provide the basic material for them to set up industry. The negative externalities are basically, it's more on the sustainability side, wherein we are consuming natural resources and we are a large greenhouse gas emitter, which is something we need to address going forward. And the good part is that the sector is working continuously on enhancing the positive externalities and working to reduce some of these negative impacts through its initiatives. This is something, when I saw this slide, it was also tough to believe, but this is the reality that the industry has set new benchmarks, global benchmarks. And I'm sure some of the global peers would be surprised when they see these numbers. Um, but it's true, and CII had come up with a booklet which had benchmarked various plants on some of these efficiency parameters. And in fact, it was a reality check, because when even we saw it internally, we leveraged it to the best of our ability, and it brought about, positive competition to set higher benchmarks. Uh, and what we are seeing is that in thermal energy today, we are the best at 676. In electrical energy per ton of cement, we are at 56. And up to clinker, we are at 42. And through some of the initiatives at waste heat, what is being seen is that power up to clinkerization is almost ending up being free. Please continue, Kiran. So, there are multiple areas of opportunities. I already spoke about the sustainability bit, but one bit I would like to talk about here is the biodiversity aspect. That post mining, I feel there is a huge scope for us to set up biodiversity parks. In fact, CII has the Center of Excellence for Sustainability Development, which does extensive work on the biodiversity side. I already spoke about the R&D technologies. There is, a lot of potential on digitalization. While I feel our industry has come a long way in terms of some of the digital tools, but we have not really leveraged the power of AI and the power of predictive and preventive maintenance to the level at which it could go. I spoke about renewable energy. Obviously, for some of these new technologies to be commercially viable, there may be the need for innovative financing, which is happening globally to happen in India as well, for some large scale commercial trials of these technologies. And I spoke about the circular economy and resource efficiency. So the Cementech annual conference, it's a joint initiative of CMA and CII, and it's a platform to highlight the progress made by the sector. We have tremendous participation across the sector. In fact, some of the people, the pictures you see above, are people that were felicitated with the Lifetime Achievement Award for their contribution to the cement sector during the physical uh, Green Cementec that took place a few years ago. So it's a 2-day online conference. There will be various topics. I believe the theme and the schedule has already been shared with most of you. We will have, multiple speakers, domestic as well as international speakers. The good part is we have a lot of international speakers joining us, and this has been made possible also due to the virtual conference. Um, and then, there's this entire online exposition where you will probably see and learn more about some of the latest developments by some of the equipment suppliers and technologies that are there on offer, and probably, also be some networking opportunities. So I spoke about most of this. This is the theme is clear. The focus areas are pathways to decarbonization. There will be sessions on innovative and futuristic technologies, which I'm looking forward to. And we will see some of the best practices from industry being showcased. And, these are some of the sessions that will take place during the course of the next 2 days. So I thank you all again for joining us here today, and let us work together to make the Indian cement industry uh, an excellent example as it is already on the global stage. And let us work closely with all the stakeholders to make sure that we are contributing in the best manner possible to the low carbon growth of the cement industry going forward. And I look forward to interacting with some of you during the next sessions. And I do hope we can continue to take this initiative forward. Lastly, I thank all our sponsors, their names are mentioned here, for continuing to support this initiative. And I look forward to your support in the coming years as well. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much. Over to you, Giri.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Singhania. It's my privilege to have both of you here, and also my privilege to deliver the concluding remarks at this inaugural session of Green Cementech 2022. As you all know, CII's association with cement industry has been pretty long, has come a long way since 1995 when CII and CMA joined together to develop the norms for Indian cement industry. The way when we look at these norms of what it was in 1995 and what it is today, it made a significant impact both in terms of the capacity as well as in terms of the numbers. We speak about 56 units per ton. The norm which was proposed, sir, in the year 1995 when we started working, it was 85. This was the norm with which we started in those days. And the thermal energy was somewhere around 850 kilocalories per kg. So we have come a long way, and it has been made possible because of the efforts of each of these cement plants, the cement manufacturers, the equipment suppliers, the technology suppliers, as well as the consultants. Each of you have played a significant role in making this possible. This is one of the major examples of a sector for the entire country and also perhaps the whole world. The other best point is all of you, in spite of the major achievements, you have not been resting on your laurels. You have always taken aspirational targets. Each of the cement plants have sustainability targets in terms of reduction of carbon footprint and taking things forward. So this is something where the industry has done well and continues to aspire for a better performance in the future. I think we should give the fullest credit to each one of you for all your contribution which you have done and for the aspirational targets which you have taken up in the future. Sir, we have nearly about 650 registrations today from various cement plants, largely from the manufacturing companies. I think to each one of you, thanks for participating, and thank you for all your effort. Getting back to the committee and the activities of CII, I'm reminded of a quote of Leo Tolstoy. Tolstoy has been a writer of magnum opus like Anna Karenina, War and Peace, and many of the large fictional works which have been popular and maybe thought of as classic books. When he was asked how he was able to write such a large fictional book, he said, "You fix the heroine, the story takes care of itself." So in CII, we say, you get the chairman right, the activity takes care of itself. We are privileged to have Mr. Singhania as the chairman taking over for the Green Cementech activity. And I think many of you know him as a dynamic and committed leader of the cement sector. And the way he presented the theme address also, he gave a bird's eye view as well as a worm's eye view in terms of the macro level perspective as well as with the micro level details. We are privileged to have you, sir, and thanks for all your support, guidance, and contribution. We look forward to having you with us and continue to guide us in terms of further progress with regard to the cement industry. Thank you, Mr. Singhania. Mr. Raju Goyal, thank you. Thanks very much. As Mr. Singhania said, your international experience has been of great help and support to us in many of both in terms of the planning out the program as well as taking out some of the activities for the Indian cement industry. Your international experience and guidance has been very, very helpful and useful. Thank you for all your support, and we look forward to your continued involvement and support. To each one of you who are participating in the program, we have about 50 speakers, and day one we'll have a session on net zero and decarbonization, both in terms of opportunities and challenges. We have a very important panel discussion with the senior members of the cement industry, with Mr. Singhania leading immediately after this session, in terms of what are the key actions which are needed to accelerate the cement industry's progress in the area of sustainability towards net zero and beyond. We also have a discussion with technology providers in terms of looking at opportunities for net zero transition. Tomorrow we'll have parallel sessions addressing specific areas, energy efficiency, improvement opportunities, digitization, IoT, latest developments in alternate fuels, best operating practices, many of the technical topics. And each one of these presentations have been very carefully identified, curated, and some of the best of the experts are presenting. I would request each one of you to focus on whatever are your areas of interest. I'm sure each of these presentations will add tremendous value to each one of you. My sincere thanks and appreciation to both the speakers, the delegates, as well as the sponsors. And before I conclude, CII is extremely committed towards the sustainability agenda. The CII Green Business Center, under the leadership of Mr. Singhania and Mr. Goyal, will take all possible steps towards supporting your initiative in terms of going towards net zero. This is one of the sectors which has done well, which continues to do well, which has got very aspirational targets. And whatever work that is required, whatever support that's required from the ground, from the CII and Green Business Center, we are committed in delivering our best. Thanks, and look forward to each one of your participation in the Cementech as well as in our future activities. Thank you, Mr. Singhania. Thank you, Mr. Raju Goyal. Thanks to each one of you who are being part of the Cementech inaugural. Thank you. With this, we come to the end of the inaugural session. To all the participants, we would get back at 11:30 with the first technical session, please. The first session, which Mr. Madhav Singhania will be leading a panel discussion. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.